Welcome back. Now we are focusing on Burkina Faso, where the military government has reached a new level of confrontation by arresting 8 staff members of the International NGO Safety Organisation, INSO, on grave charges of spying and treason. Now, Security Minister Mahamudu Sana accuses them of collecting sensitive military information. INSO forcefully rejects this, claiming that their work is only for the safety of aid workers. This incident is not isolated, but part of a wider clampdown on foreign entities by Captain Ibrahim Traore's government. But to help us understand the gravity of this escalation, we are joined by Dr. David Matanga, who is an African Affairs analyst. Thank you so much, Dr. Matanga, for joining us at this time.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and a good day to the rest of Africa. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Now, speak to us on how you assess the junta's central allegation that INSO collected and passed on sensitive security information.
First of all, I've been in Burkina Faso several times, and I want to make a disclaimer. I'm a great friend of Captain Ibrahim. I love his work. I love the way he has done. He has made Burkina Faso great. The reconstruction, the buildings, the infrastructure, the action that lack in some of these African countries. But at one point, I warned him. I told him that be careful about the French doing what we call counter coups and military coups, plotting another coup against him. I told him not to allow too many of these NGOs to come. Everybody was coming, even some of the African NGOs that claim to be Pan-African. Some of them are spies. It is true, they spy, especially there's a time I got a group of about 200 Americans taken there by somebody that I don't want to mention here. I was very furious about that. I warned him that this is not going to happen if international intelligence systems operate in different ways. So you cannot rule out the situation that some of these NGOs, especially international NGOs, go there with double standards, double edge, double face. They also want to collect intelligence. Remember, America has put Burkina Faso on a spotlight, on alert. Any time could happen. France is not happy. They were thrown out. They were cheating, eating the money of Burkina Faso. Traore has done a great job by telling them enough is enough, go home, because they were selling uranium at 400 kilos and $400 a kilo, and they were giving them only $80 or $100 per kilo. What a cheat for so many years. So I warned him, and I believe the security must be alert. They will do it and do it until they get what they want.
Okay, but then
we pray.
But then
Yes.
INSO has actually said that it categorically rejects the allegations and warned that these charges put all aid workers at risk. Practically speaking, can any foreign NGO now operate safely in Burkina Faso, or are there just bad eggs amongst them?
There are bad eggs amongst NGOs. You are right. My sister, the bad NGOs, look at the NGOs of George Soros that are spread all over Africa, that the whole thing, they were regime change. If you are being funded by George Soros, whom now Trump has put under tight lock, removed, would you think that USAID was also being used to spy on people? Wouldn't, no. So most of these NGOs, the foreign NGOs, especially French NGOs, most of them are briefcase NGOs. In some of these African countries, there was another country in East Africa which had 156 NGOs from France, but you don't see them in action. Some of them talk of uranium, some of them talk of this, some of them say, we are helping people to wash hands. We are Africans not able to wash hands before. Were we eating food with dirty hands? So there are some things that must be well put. Yes, there are some bad eggs amongst the international NGOs. Good NGOs like Red Cross, they do good job. because some of us have been helped by Red Cross so many times. I managed to locate my children to take them to London by the NGO. When I had fled, I had to look for them through Red Cross. That is a very good job. But there are some NGOs that are very, very bad, that come with double faces, and those are the NGOs that Burkina Faso is saying, we are putting your notes.
All right, Dr. Matanga, earlier you said that you had warned Captain Ibrahim Traore against, inviting different types of NGOs into the country because some might be spies. And we remember that the junta suspended INSO in July. So did that suspension legally bar all of INSO's operations? And, in light of that, does that change how we evaluate the spying accusations?
No, spying accusations could be in different ways. People come with several intentions. For example, it is very difficult to find out who is a Mossad agent unless you know the tactics of Mossad, or CIA agent unless you know how CIA operates, or MI6, or any other, or KBG. You must study the subject. Some of us who have studied the subject of those agencies, you can tell. Sometime it was about 1 year ago when I found there are 250 Americans, all of them in Ogadudu. I said, oh my God, I did not, when I came back to went home, and I had, after the warning, I warned them. I said, this type of people coming saying, oh, we want to come back to Africa, we want to do this, we want to do this, you must check them. Because France is not happy, my sister. France says it will make sure that it retains Burkina Faso. And across, some of the ECOWAS states are collaborating with France to remove Traore. His record is so good in Africa that nobody has a record of that nature. So for me, I tell these younger men exactly. I don't tell them to continue. I tell them, make a transition. If there is a transition, make it quickly and go back. And unfortunately, the AU is also in shambles. The AU chairperson is so much, even smaller than he was when we elected him. You don't see him anywhere. So I have said it. It is true. Some of them, we have to be very careful, and we must be firm against such if they are to survive.
All right, now among the 8 detained, right, 4 are Burkinabe citizens. Are the foreign governments focusing on their nationals alone? And who is truly fighting for the Burkinabe staff that are actually facing these charges of treason?
Remember, this is a coordinated effort across Sahel region. You have seen in Mali, there was a military coup, attempted coup, and then he have arrested all officers. It's a coordinated, it's a French, the French are dangerous. They never left here, they never left us, they never left Africa. They just gave us independence and a controlled money, controlled economy. All the money that we were making in Africa, we take it to Paris for division, to give us peanuts, when we are the real people who should have given them something. So France, without Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and the other states that have fallen, that have said we are enough is enough, Chad, France is nothing. Among the European countries, France is one of the countries that does not have even some oil on the shores of any lake, any ocean. They don't. They rely on that's why you see they are fighting even in your own place to have a pipeline to go through Mediterranean Sea into Paris. So France has been the enemy of Africa. 3/4 of African states, my sister, which are Francophone, are dead. Look at, yes, dead. Congo, gone. Central Africa, gone. Do you hear about the Central African Republic? They are mining, they are carrying diamonds. 2 Airbuses leaving every morning carrying diamonds. back to Paris? Is there tourism in Central African Republic? So, Traore must be very attentive, alert. They must work hard, not to victimize people, but they must get sharp intelligence, also be helped by international Pan-Africanists. Most of the Pan-Africanists think about money other than helping these younger men to make things good and persuade them to come back to the core of the African Union. That's what some of us do whenever we talk to them. So I am vindicated. I told them that some people will come here as spies. Don't allow every Tom and Dick, Harry to come to see the president. Oh, Mr. President, you are the best one. No, 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 no.
Okay, Dr. Masanga, but then how likely is this to trigger a formal diplomatic action, you know, from the countries of the detained? That's France, Czech Republic, and also Mali.
Yeah, you see, it is the same culprits. They are the same. Czech now has become a European Union a messenger. Whenever you see Czech officials, they pretend to know English or French better than the French themselves. So they will come in that format. But the basic thing is this. All this, we must go back to African Union and ask ourselves, why is African Union? Ask a question. I can ask here a question. Has African Union, how many times have they visited Ouagadougou? How many times has the Political and Security Commission of African Union visited Niger, Niamey? How many times have they visited Mali, Ouagadougou, Guinea-Conakry? How many times? None. If you go to the logbook in AU, this gentleman is hammering dollars every day, every month. He's receiving dollars, plenty of dollars with a passport that takes him to every African country. But he has never visited Ouagadougou to persuade the general to put a transition so that people can choose wherever you go back to fight. And two, there is also another element that I want to thank the government of Burkina Faso. They have fought insurgents. They are really putting efforts to wipe out ISIS, Al-Qaeda remnants, and other groups who have infiltrated the Maghreb, the route towards the Sahara Desert, which goes up as far as Libya. That is a very good effort by Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. Of course, now you can see the trouble is coming from French allies like Morocco, Algeria. You can see some things coming there because they are being used to sabotage the programs that Burkina Faso has done. So he has to be very careful. And I have told him, I always talk my mind. I don't go there to beg him to give me money. I don't beg him money. I tell him my mind that, sir, be careful. Some of us have been on this for a long time. We know, we've studied this subject, these agents.
All right, Dr. Masanga, now we're wrapping up now. Let's have your final thoughts and also how you think, donors and UN agencies should respond operationally. Should they suspend their programs in Burkina Faso, demand access to the detained, or what do they do?
Naturally, Burkina Faso will give them access to the people who have been detained. That's okay, it's an international rule. They must allow detention, but they must put them on trial in a fair court where they can get representation. But let it be a warning to most of these NGOs. Instead of going in to do some work, you come to tell us more about one thing, election. There's trouble, there's a lot of trouble. And African countries learn this from some of us, learn this. Time has come, all these conferences that you hold around Africa, think about going back like China. I'm giving advice to African states. Some of them are holding conferences continuously. They like conferences to be introduced. But they go back and think What do you want for Africa? China 40 years ago, my sister was the poorest country with one rice scheme in my country. They were sharing rice with us. And I see China today. They have gone back. This man in Burkina Faso has gone back and looked at what is good for Burkina Faso. That's why it's being fought by so many people. And so many Africans must stand up to defend, to give advice to the young man in Burkina Faso. He's done very well. You can see ambulances, you can see tractors, you can see graders, you can see not gasolers. Most of the states in Africa, big cars, when people are hungry, when people have no medicine, when people have no aspirin, a Panadol, one Panadol in the hospitals in some places in a country like your place, there is no medicine in some places. There is no food. So this type of politics must come to an end. Africa must start thinking and renew AU, reform it. AU must be reformed not by diplomats who are thieves. We must reform AU with diplomats who are straightforward. And when you bring a committee which includes some thieves, some of us wouldn't like to be part of it. We have given our responsibility to reforming a committee. And finally, we have very good men like Professor Gambari. That's a very good man who can work together with His Excellency President Ruto to reform AU. But the rest of some of the committee members have bad record. So I think, let's be very honest, let's reform African Union, let it work nicely. President Ruto is on the right track to reform it, and I hope he will give it the right
all right.
approach.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your take on this. Dr. David Matanga, African Affairs Analyst. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my sister, for inviting me, and thank you very much, News Central. Keep the good work you are doing. You are educating Africa, unlike some television stations that are not even talking about Africa at all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, and that's all for today on The Conversation. Do not forget to catch up on any of our missed episodes on our YouTube channel at News Central TV. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Until I come your way again, I'm Darshan Usman. Bye for now.